Hello, dear friends. Shavua Tov. This past Shabbat, we read the portion of Noah and the flood. I'd like to talk a little bit about Noah. Who is this individual? I'm going to read to you some obvious texts, then ask the questions that nobody seems to ask to figure out who this individual is. So, we are at Parshat Noah, chapter 6, verse 8. Verse 9, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was in his generation a man righteous and wholehearted, and Noah walked with God. And he had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japhet. And the earth was corrupt before the Lord, and the earth was filled with violence, Hamas, etc. And then God says to Noah, the end of all flesh is before me, for the earth is filled with violence, and I will destroy them from the earth. Make an ark of gopher wood. With rooms make the ark. Pitch it inside and out with pitch. This is how you should make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. The breadth, 50 cubits. The height, 30 cubits. A light shall be, etc., etc., etc. Wait a second. And what does it say at the end? He tells them what to do. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Now, what I find surprising here is, with all good intention, if I would have said to me, build a ship, I would probably said, I don't know how to build a ship. I would love to. Maybe get me somebody who can teach me. Let's do it. But I have no clue. God tells Noah to build a ship. It's not such a small ship. You got to get all the animals in. It's fine. No problem. Is there something about Noah we don't know here? Already in the text? Okay, let me explain. This is going to be a combination between the text and midrashic commentaries from the Second Temple period that seem to see this within the text. Let's start from the beginning. At the Adam and Eve eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and all of them are punished. And what is the punishment of Adam? Adam Amar in chapter 3, and to Adam he said, because you listened to your wife and you ate from this tree that I told you not to eat from, Arura ha'aduma barurecha, I am cursing the land on your behalf. Bitzavon tochalena, it's going to be difficult for you to eat from this land all of your life. Every time you try to plant, you're going to have thorns and thistles, and you shall eat that which grows from the field. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread until you go back to the ground, because you are taken from the dirt, and back to the dirt you shall go. So this is the first mentioning of the curse of the land. And the curse of the land here is that you try to plant, and instead of the plant coming out, you have thorns and thistles instead of the wheat that you're trying to grow. Now, this is mentioned a second time in chapter 4. When Cain kills Abel, Cain kills Hevel. And God says, where is Hevel where is Abel your brother? He says, I don't know, my brother's keeper. Says, what did you do? The bloods of your brother are screaming out to me from the land. And now you are cursed unto this land, which opened up its mouth to take the blood of your brother from your hand. When you try to work this land, it will not give you its power, and you will be somebody who will be a wanderer all of your life. The second time the curse of the land is mentioned with Cain. Cain kills Abel, and again the land is cursed. Now, there's something which comes up, which is an interesting discovery about Noah. In chapter 5, when it talks about the birth of Noah, why was he called Noah? Chapter 5, verse 28. When Lamech was 80 years old, he was 180 years old, he had a son. And his name was Noah. And why did he call him Noah? Because Zeya Nachamenu, he's going to comfort us from our actions and from our toil, from the land that God has cursed. Just Noah is going to comfort us. He's going to comfort us. Now, what does it mean he's going to comfort us? Rashi brings the Midrash and Midrash Rabbah. It says that Noah discovered the first plowshare. By discovering the first plowshare, he was able to get over the problems of the thorns and the thistles. If you plow the ground at the beginning, you got rid of them. And then you can plant, and everything's so much easier. If I look in the Midrash Tanchuma, it even goes into greater detail. Not only did he invent the first plowshare, but he also invented everything you need for agriculture, which was the sickle in order, this knife that goes around in order to harvest, and shovels. He got the whole thing going, the plowshares and the shovels and the sickles, and he overcame the curse of the land. Now, this was legitimate. God punished Adam and punished Cain, but he didn't say you're not allowed to get over the obstacles. He just made it more difficult. So Noah used his inventions and used his ingenuity that God gave him, and he created technical inventions, scientific inventions, and now everything's easier. We can now plant and we can reap and we can get over these problems. And that's okay. That's okay. Which is a discussion by itself, the place of technology in biblical thought. But there's definitely something going on here, according to this understanding of the Midrash. And this is a very common quote in the Midrash, both Midrash Rabbah and the Tanchuma. So who is Noah? Now, let me explain one last thing before I give my interpretation here. Noah is from the line of Seth, of Shet. Maybe, remember, Adam and Eve have 3 children in the biblical story. There's Cain, who kills Abel. Those are the first 2. And after Cain kills Abel, Adam and Eve have another child. His name is Seth, Shet. And then in chapter 5, you have the whole, actually in chapter 6, you have the whole line of Shet. That's chapter 5. Right? Zeh Sefer Toldot Adam. This is the book of the generations of Adam. Rashi says the whole Torah is really about the generations of Adam. He was created in God's image. That's chapter 5, verse 1. Zachar v'nekeva, male and female were they created. And God called them Adam, by the way. Adam in the Bible always refers to the male and the female together in the day that they were created. And then it goes off to the offspring of Shet, and in that line is Lamech, and then Noah. He's in that line of the Shet, who was also created in the image of Adam, it says. Well, there's one more story that we need to know to finish this interpretation. There is another Lamech. It's not the same one as Noah's father. After Cain killed Abel, it says he built a city. And he called that city after his son, Chanoch. Again, this is not Chanoch ben Yered, it's Chanoch, the son of Cain, because there are 2 Chanochs in Bereshit and 2 Lamechs. So that's what it says about him. First, he kills his brother. And then, of course, he is sent out to be a wanderer. And then in chapter 4, verse 17, it says, Cain knew his wife and they had a child, Chanoch, and he started building a city, and he called the city after Chanoch. And Chanoch had a child whose name was Irad, and Irad had a child, Mechuyael, and he had a child, Metushael, and he had a child called Lemech. So Lemech is Chanoch's sons. You have Chanoch, and then you have Irad is his grandson. His great-grandson is Mechuyael. His great-great-grandson is Metushael. So the grandson of the grandson is Metushael. And then Lemech is the son of the grandson of the grandson. This Lemech, according to the biblical story, the way it's understood, by mistake killed Cain. That's also told in this story. But as it's talking about, as he says that to his wife, it also talks about his children. This Lemech, this son of the grandson of the grandson of Cain, has two women, Ada and Sila. Ada has a child whose name is Yaval, which, by the way, in Hebrew really means a body of water, a wellspring. And he is the father of all those who sit in the tent and care over flock. The second one is Yuval, who creates musical instruments, the kinor, the lyre, and the ugav. And then you have Tzila, the other wife, has another son whose name is Tuval Cain. Again, Tuval, Yaval, they all mean sources of water. And this one, his name is actually, the name Cain was added to it. And this one, Lotesh Kol Choresh Nechoshet Barzel, which means that he creates metal instruments out of copper and out of bronze. And he has a sister, Nama. What is this family of Lemech who comes from Cain? They seem to be very creative. One of them builds tents and has flocks. Another one creates musical instruments. And the third one creates all different types of metal equipment that are needed. And he has a sister, Nama. Now, Noah comes from a different line. There's a line of Cain, which is a line by itself. And then there's a line where Noah comes from. There is a midrash in the Tanchum, in the Midrash Rabbah, which brings an argument. But according to Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana, Noah married Naamah, the sister of Tuval Cain, from the line of Cain, even though he could have married somebody from the line of Seth. Why would he marry Naamah? It appears that Noah was fascinated with the descendants of Cain. Not because some of them have gone astray, but because of their creativity. This Cain, aside from killing his brother, which was a terrible thing, he went out and built a city by himself and named it after his son. And the family of Lemech, and maybe there were more on the way who were like that, but the family of Lemech, musical instruments, tents, and ways to be shepherds, and Tuval Cain, Naamah's brother, who is creating all these metal instruments for all different things, and as we know, according to the Midrash, so did Noah. He created a plowshare, which is a metal instrument, and he creates shovels, and he creates a sickle for harvesting. So he was fascinated with that family, with endless creativity. Maybe there's a way of redeeming the energy from that family and bringing it into the line of Seth. And he marries Naamah. Some say Naamah, the name Naamah, from Ni'imah. She was a pleasant woman. Figured a pleasant woman, that's the right one. Of course, there are other opinions too, but I'm not going to go into that. So it looks like Noah purposely marries Naamah of the family of Tuval Cain, the sister of Tuval Cain, the daughter of Lemech, who, by the way, has the same name as Noah's father, but they're different people and a different line. And he's now incorporating that line of Cain back into the line of Seth. Now we can understand my first question. Noah is fascinated with all different types of instruments. He's good with his hands. He makes plowshares. He's into agriculture. He's good at all this stuff. When God says to him, "No, I want you to build an ark of gopher wood," God knows in advance that Noah can do it. Noah gets excited. He can now use his talents to fulfill God's command. I'm sure he's excited about it. Of course, the Midrash is a little bit critical of Noah. It took him 120 years to build it, said the Midrash. Why didn't he tell people to do teshuvah, to repent? But Noah is a man who is very talented with his hands, and he can do anything. He can build anything. God knows that he can do it. And then tragedy hits. The tragedy, of course, is the Mabul, the flood, the deluge. Everyone is killed. Every previous generation from the line of Seth. Everybody from the generation from the line of Cain. You just have Noah and his family. Noah, after the flood, in chapter 9, gets all these promises. The world is to start again. He's told that he can eat whatever he wants, but he's told also to be fruitful and multiply. And he's also told that not to kill, because there was killing in earlier generations. This has to stop. But when Noah comes out of the ark, first, of course, he brings his offerings to God. And then he realizes what happened. Everybody's gone. Noah can't deal with that. In chapter 9, God tells him to leave the ark. He says everything is going to go back more or less to normal now. But for Noah, things are not back to normal because he remembers what was there before. And it looks like Noah cannot take it. So in chapter 9, they come out of the ark, it says, Vayachel Noach ish adama. Noah started to become a man of the land. And he planted a vineyard. And he drank from the wine, and he got drunk, and he started rolling in his tent. First thing that's happening here, it looks like this is post-trauma. He can't deal with the fact that all these people died, and maybe he could have prevented it. I think that's a natural outcome. He gets intoxicated because he just can't take it. And he's rolling in his tent. But there's something else here. The Torah calls him, the Bible calls him Ish Adamah, man of the land. Cain was also Ish Adamah, man of the land. And he used to grow things for the land. The Midrash says 3 people were called a man of the land. One of them was Cain, the other one was Noah, the third one was Uzziah, King Uzziah. And the Midrash sees this as a negative thing. In general, by the way, the Bible likes shepherds, doesn't like so much men of the land and hunters. Not that it's against agriculture, but that specific term. A man of the land. And then he plants a vineyard, and he creates wine and gets intoxicated and starts running around naked in the tent. And then the story of his son, Ham and Canaan, who make fun of him, but the other 2 sons cover him up. What is happening here? I think 2 things are happening here. Number 1 is Noah, as I said, has this post-trauma. He cannot deal with the fact that the world has been decimated, even if there's now hope. But maybe he could have stopped it, and he cannot deal with that. The second thing is this term Ish Adamah. It's almost like Noah's imagining himself as the Cain. Cain killed Abel. That was only one person. Look at all the people I killed. Until now, I have been amazed by the creativity of Cain's family, from the city that he made to my wife's brothers who are were so talented. But if Cain killed one person, what about all the people that died because of me? Because I didn't open my mouth. He starts imagining himself as Cain. And he starts planting in the ground like Cain. And all that can come up in his vineyard is wine to intoxicate him. because he cannot deal with it. But then Noah realizes he's not Cain. Yes, he has to use all these positive things of the Cain family and incorporate it into the line of Seth, but he is not Cain. He might not be perfect. Maybe he should have said something all those times, but he did follow God's command, and he's not Cain. This is not a simple thing for him. There's more to say about this. But this is Noah incorporating everything he can, but the shock that he goes through after the flood, when the line of Cain is gone, the early line of Seth is gone, and all that's left is he, his wife, Naaman, their 3 children. These are not simple things for him. There's a lot more to say, but I'd like to hold it at this now. And I wish everybody Chodesh Tov, a great month, and health. Shalom, shalom.